strapping them down, and just kind of confirm and reassure that, you know, this is part of being able to haul them, and it does make it safe to put them onto a pickup truck bed. You can fasten that on. My husband and my sons are all real experienced with utilizing the straps and with making sure that loads are fastened securely, so that's what they're going to be doing here. They're using these heavy duty straps. Jared, are there any particular specs on those straps that you're willing to share? Or is it just too early? It's just too early.
It don't need to be anything. Oh, you just need to keep them crates locked together. So.
Yeah, and they stack actually really neatly and pretty securely as far as stacks go, because there's kind of these lips, and they kind of, you can feel when you set them on top of each other, they kind of fit and sort of don't lock together, but they definitely are made to set together. So so you can see they just, you know, they settle right down in there. You could haul them in a stock trailer too. You could even put them loose on the floor of like a stock trailer. Really don't have any lighting on this side at all to show you what's going down, but you know, they'll end up throwing that strap all the way across there. But you can see they settle right down in there. Oh, I said you could actually haul them loose in a stock trailer if you didn't have crates, or if you needed to haul them in a stock trailer. But one thing with that, we would definitely tell you, don't put them in a stock trailer and then just let it sit and expect to let the birds sit in that stock trailer. They got to have airflow and moving air. So like if we were going to haul them loose in a stock trailer, we wouldn't load them and let them sit there like overnight. That would not be our preference. We would load them right before we left. And in fact, even with this, I'm sure there are instances where maybe flocks are loaded into crates several hours ahead of being hauled, and maybe sit in the crates even in an open air space. And we could do that, but we still prefer even hauling them in the crates and with them having open air in the transport. We still prefer to do that immediately before transport, so that they're not having to sit in those crates any longer than necessary. So, but at any rate, this is probably, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is probably our least favorite part of raising the meat chickens. Either second to or tied with finding chickens that have died overnight. That's one of our least favorite things. But this aspect of it is probably one of our least favorite things, because just having to get up at 3 a.m. and deal with loading them in the crates, which is kind of hot work and tedious work. We actually pick up each bird by hand, one bird at a time, gently, and set them into the crates. It's a top load feature, so we didn't end up needing all 50 of our crates. So it's a top load feature. So the birds are picked up one at a time, set into the crate. In this instance, we counted 10, and then you pull the crate shut, and then the crate is ready to be loaded. So you know, that's just a lot of work, and the more birds that you have, the more work that it is. But it seems like it takes us about an hour regardless, like whether we have a flock of 100, 200, 300, or 400, it takes us about an hour. And everybody here is pretty sometimes there must be difficulty with the strap there. Sometimes, you know, it just is a tedious job to get them all loaded, but I know everybody gets warm doing that. But just the part of being up at 3 in the morning, headed out to the barn to load birds, you know, the human side of it is everybody's tired and nobody really wants to do it. So so anyway, but it is good to see that we had plenty of crates for them. It was good to see that so many of them completed production. So they're gonna make sure straps are fastened down there. I'm guessing there's probably gonna be a few more straps go on the load. I think they're probably getting some out of one of the other trucks, and then this is it. And so we'll just take off and drive. So this time we're actually taking a follow vehicle and going to probably spend some time in the area where these birds are going, and then try to come back to the processors and pick up our crates. So I guess that's something we can kind of finish up on here with this video. When we get to the processor, we're going to offload these crates. And so they had talked about actually setting pallets down on the truck bed first and putting the crates on top of it. Even my husband and I had talked about that. And then the people up at the processor would be willing to use a forklift and just lift those entire pallets off. But we tried that, and it just didn't look like it was going to be as secure for the crates. So the guys decided to take the pallets off, but still at the processor they'll use a forklift, and they'll be able to come up to the truck bed, and they'll have a pallet on the forklift, and then they have some kind of contraption. My husband was explaining it to me, but it's a contraption that actually pulls the pallets toward the end of the truck bed, and then they can or pulls the crates toward the end of the truck bed, and then they can work together to just set the crates onto the pallet that the worker at the processor facility has. So at any rate, it's already wearing on everybody, but as we get headed up the road, everybody will start to get a little bit of energy for the day. So everybody will kind of clean up a little bit here before we go and get refreshed, and we'll be heading out. But like I said, the other thing I wanted to finish on there is we'll come back to the processors and pick up our crates this time, because when we offload them, the birds are offloaded in the crates. We leave the crates there. When the processor is ready to take our load of birds, they'll of course take them out of the crates at that time. So we won't sit right there and wait on our crates. We will actually just leave the birds in the crates, leave the facility, and then we can either come back later in the same day and get our crates, or we can come back when we pick up our poultry and get our crates then. But it would be nice if we could get these crates home today, so that when we go to get our poultry, that's all that we have to have room to transport home and have to have space for. So I think that's what we're going to try to do today. We're all going to get to go, which doesn't normally happen. It's just usually my husband and I on processing day for transport. Everybody helps load, and then just the two of us do the transport. So it'll be nice to have everybody up there for part of the day, and then we'll get these crates and get them back home. When we get back home, we'll wash the crates up, get them stored back up in the barn. We'll clean the barn up, and we'll recondition the floor for the next flock, which will arrive about September 4th. So everybody is kind of ready for a break, because we've now done, I think we've done 2 flocks of 400 literally back to back. So everybody is ready for a break from raising the meat birds. And when we get the next flock in about a week, that will also be a flock of 400. That'll nearly finish up our year. They're supposed to hatch September 4th, 2024, go to processor October 14th, 2024, and then we do have one small flock of 100 scheduled for after that, and our flock production year will conclude on December 4th, 2024. So thanks y'all for joining us. So that gave you opportunity to see there the birds are in the crates are loaded, crates are fastened, and we're going to be pretty soon ready to take off. So is that all the straps that go on, Jared, or do you do some more around the back?
No, this is it.
This is it. Okay. So they'll double check that all the straps are tight and well fastened, and this is how we're going to roll. So thanks for joining us, y'all. We appreciate it. It's not very exciting material, but that's kind of the human side of finishing production with meat birds. So thank you very, very much for supporting our channel. We appreciate your time and effort watching, and you can see that's what they're completing, checking those straps. We want to make sure this load is secure to get from here to the processor.